Now, let me ask you, what else do you think? Where are you lacking? What do you think are some categories that you should be working on? Given today or anything that you've experienced
today I
so
realized I
far?
was talking about that anaerobic fatigue.
Yeah,
Just being
anaerobic threshold. So he had a really good experience that I love to give people when he was doing the hit. Our second lap around, once he started hitting about 95% max heart rate, he's in anaerobic threshold. I'm going to back you up a little bit just so they can see you on there. He started hitting anaerobic threshold, and there's a lot of anxiety that's happening. It's hard to breathe. You just tell them about your experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to do the movement, and I'm like, all right, wait, I can't breathe, literally. You know, I've been in a position where, all right, just take deep breaths, keep going, keep pushing, but there's a difference when you're like, all right, well, I really can't physically breathe right now, and I'm just trying to stabilize and keep going, but I need to breathe first. I'm like, wait, I need to focus, I need to do the movement, but I need to breathe. And then you're just taken over, you're succumbed by it, where you can't breathe anymore. You're just like, hold on, I need to breathe so I can do it. And I'm trying to do both at the same time. It just wasn't working out. And I've experienced it before, usually when I'm running sprints and I'm just gassing myself. But that's
I'm moving this camera, keep talking.
That's something.
Y'all don't look at me, look at him, look at him.
Not mastered, but something I want to be able to handle better. Focus on my breathing, have that in the background while I'm able to do my movement. Especially, you know, when I'm just going through the hell, going through the suck. That's something I just want to keep pushing, keep going, no matter what.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't experienced it before, we're talking about anaerobic threshold, where basically you are at 100%, you are not metabolizing fat, you're not using oxygen as fuel at all, it's 100% sugar burning, and once again, you're gonna reach an end to that. There's so much glycogen in your muscle and liver that you can handle, and you start running out of that, and you start hitting a wall, and the feeling is not very good, and of course he's using the term suck as the expression. As a tactical athlete, you have got to become best friends with the suck. If you don't want to be friends with the suck, do not go into the military. Do not think you're going to be a special operator of any kind. You have got to become best friends with that. From a tactical perspective, the more we can get him into that anaerobic threshold, it will drive his aerobic capacity. All right, so it will make his cardio better, one, and it will help him to experience fight-flight in a healthy training environment, right? So what we were talking about was trying to breathe, trying to have kind of a mantra, and I gave him I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Trying to relax the mind as we're at max heart rate, so he has a mental skill set to help him once he knows he's basically in what they call the black, where the heart rate is just at capacity and shit has hit the fan. Small motor patterns are breaking down, vision is coming in, blood is coming away from the extremities. The more we train that, especially if we can mix in some combatives practice, so we experience it with fitness, and we either can manipulate, we can do weapons manipulation, you can do combatives, but the more you experience that in a healthy way, in a good training environment, the more it's going to help you in the real world. So it was very interesting. So if he is training these hit zones appropriately, he is going to experience that anaerobic threshold quite a bit during those sessions. So he will get more and more used to it. So we're looking at 10 to 12 pounds of fat, working on stability, and then also AT. So what I'm going to do with these other days is kind of put in some other ideas for him to continue working on his performance levels, specifically related to what he's getting ready to do. You said you've been rucking some.
Yeah.
Okay, so how far have you been rucking?
I'll go 10, 15 miles to 50, 60 pounds like that.
How long does that take you?
2.5 hours, 3 hours.
2.5 hours. Do you have any idea where your heart rate is on those days?
I haven't been using
Okay. So we're going to go back to the rucking again, and we're going to give him those as his low intensity days, believe it or not. So he's not been using heart rate training. If you're training, if you're going to do any kind of program design, guys, you got to be wearing a heart rate monitor, and we talked about that. We like the Garmin products. I think that they're the best. We want to record that data as well. We want to record all volume of training, including heart rate. So we're going to give him, and how long did you say?
2.5 hours, 3.5 hours, depending on how far I'm running.
Okay, so let's just call it, let's call it 2.5 How about this? I'll do you one better. Let's do 2 days at 2, and let's do 1 at 3. Okay, and what kind of weight, and these are hours, what kind of weight have you been using?
So I've been ranging. If I'm trying to do a light jog, I'll go light around 30 pounds.
So you're actually jogging doing this?
Sometimes I do if I'm
Okay.
going through trails, but if I'm going to hit pavement and I'm just going to go heavy, I'll do 60 pounds.
Okay. So his heart rate, his low intensity days that I gave him was a heart rate range of 125 to 150. I'm going to put that. And then I'm going to explain this. We'll erase all this and I'll draw the low intensity days out. So about 50 to 60, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's been using 50 to 60 pounds on these rocks. We'll keep that. We'll go 50, 60, and we're going to give him 1 day at 70. So you can see I'm doing kind of a linear, what I would call a linear periodization model. So instead of doing steady state all the same, I'm going to give him 2 of the same amounts of volume in time, 2 2-hour sessions, but he's going to go 50 to 60 pounds, 10-pound difference. Once a week, he's going to go 3 hours, so more volume, more time, but he's going to push 70. And I tell you, I'm going to go 70 to 80. So as time goes by, you can kind of on your own, as you know, when you get done with that one Saturday, going into the next Saturday, you look back and go, you know, I got another 5 pounds in me, I got another 10 pounds in me. So every week, he's going to kind of have this max effort day, still maintaining those heart rates. We're just looking at increasing volume of time, volume of weight, but can he still stay at 125 to 150? I'm going to challenge him to not get over those heart rate ranges. What we're looking to do is increase his aerobic capacity and workload without expending more energy or increasing his heart rate ranges. A couple of things that we're looking to do. This low intensity day is really trying to help him learn how to metabolize fats. 2 big fuel tanks, fat utilization and sugar. The HIIT is going to take care of that sugar burning fuel tank. That's that anaerobic threshold. But if we don't come on the other side of that and get into fat metabolism, that energy system will never become optimized. If we're always training in high intensities, at some point you will overtrain, you will fatigue, you will get injured, your central nervous system will break down. You will notice that mentally, emotionally, you don't want to train anymore, you're tired. So you got to have rest days, and I'm going to give him one, which is Sunday. I'm going to give him that day completely off. So right now we're looking at, he's going to do 3 hits, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the goal of those sessions is always as usual. He is going to push as heavy a weight as possible, as hard and fast as he can go, while maintaining good form. When form breaks down, the speed and the weight need to slow down. He's got 3 days a week there that he's going to focus on his rucks, looking at increasing weight and using the volume of time and weight as variables. He can adjust that as he goes if he starts to feel like he's overtraining. We accomplished a couple things with that. We're going to attack both big fuel tanks, sugar and fat utilization. We should be able to stabilize the amount of muscle tissue that's on him because he's going to have a nutrition program specific for him. I'd also recommend probably some branched chain aminos pre or during your workouts and also during rucking. So if you're doing like a serving of branched chains during your HIIT session, I would do 2 during your long days, because those long days can burn off a lot of muscle tissue. You can go catabolic once we start pushing this hour, 2 hour, 3 hour gauntlet, but the reality is he's going to be doing it and he's got to get used to doing it. But those BCAAs will help you from going catabolic. There's a possibility that creatine can also help to keep that muscle high. I would only do it on the days that you're weight training. Once that creatine load gets up there and you've built it up, you don't need to keep doing it 10 times a day. I think 3 days a week is probably going to be fine for that. And then obviously you're going to have to supplement protein as needed.
Yep.
Tiff will put you on that. You'll know exactly how many macros that you're going to need for that. The stability, once again, is going to be taken care of if he does these hit designs. And the only thing that I'm going to add into that is that we're going to come on top of it. Because this is a good amount of workload, the only thing that I'm concerned with him long term is him losing flexibility, creating unhealthy length tension relationships, which he already has, because that's what's causing the instability. Something, and we didn't really track it yet, something is not firing correctly, such as his glutes aren't firing correctly. He's not moving externally, internally well. There's just not good communication happening there. So I'm going to really push him that on top of the M series days, when he's doing those hits, that later on that day we come in with some flexibility. It could be yoga, anything that you want to do, but come in, spend some time getting those healthy length tension relationships. If you're rocking 2-3 hours 3 times a week and that pack is on you, it's causing your body to change in ways that maybe you don't want. Once those length tension relationships are compensated, anterior to posterior, inside, outside, your strength is going to go down. Your speed, agility, reaction time, your balance, everything is going downhill. So I'm really going to challenge him to continue working on his flexibility, corrective exercises as needed in addition to that. So that's a healthy dose of activity. But if that doesn't do it, I don't know what will, right? And then we're going to work together as the weeks go by, and we'll adjust it as needed. But anything you want to add?
Just out of curiosity, where do I fit in running? Endurance?
I love this question. So immediately, where do I fit in running? And I'm going to answer that by saying you're not going to run. And I love saying that. You're going to be running plenty because you still got to go into basic. And really what's going to happen is he's going to go through a period of down training when he goes into basic. He is going to be in such great shape. Basic will be a joke to him. It will be a complete joke. And the reason I am going to move him towards not running is I was watching, once again, his instability in his knees. And to explain it without, actually him doing it, once his leg is striking the ground, this valgus, his knee is moving inside of his hip and ankle position. When he is running and striking the ground, the same thing is happening. So basically his knees are moving in and out when he's running. If he continues to do that, he's going to exacerbate that issue. It's going to get worse, and he's probably pushing towards injury. What's happening is if that knee is moving like this, inside of my 2 fists there is your meniscus with the connective tissue sitting over top of it, right? So basically, he's muddling away meniscus and straining connective tissue. The faster he runs, you guys are missing the face he's making. The faster he runs, the more dynamic that nature. So if he's jogging, he's moving at about 1.5 times his body weight when he lands, right? That knee is moving inside. If he's sprinting, 2-3 times his body weight. We had him just standing up and balancing. And as soon as he loaded that leg, it almost broke and he almost fell over. Broke by it's moving inside again. He's got no stability. Long story short, the last thing we want to do is an activity that's making that worse. I would push the entire military to stop fucking running, guys. You don't need to actually be running to have the absolute best cardio fuel tank that you can get. And guess what? If we're functionally training correctly and we stop the running process and we learn how to move our bodies biomechanically correct and then reintroduce running, because he's going to have to. And the reality of that is he's probably not going to be running 2-5 miles in tennis shoes. He's going to be doing 10-15 meter sprints, right, to the next cover position and on and on. The battlefield is a series of short sprints, not long endurance runs. And the military is starting to realize that and slowly phase out some of the training that just isn't healthy and isn't working out for soldiers running is one. We need to run, it needs to be there, but we need to understand how to functionally run correct. And I think if we remove him from that process for a while, strengthen, specifically work strength stability, get the integrity back in the joints, when he reintroduces it again, he's going to be great. I've had many people come in and just train with me and do the M-Series hits, show up after 2 months of it and run half marathons, never having run a day and set PRs. So I think that's a great question and very relevant, because I think many of you going in the military are out there just running. By the time you get there, there's a really good chance you're already broken or prepped and ready for the injury that's waiting to happen. And we don't want that. Great, awesome question. Anything you can think of?
I mean, that's great. I didn't know that. I also cycle a lot. Is that
Cycling's great.
Sweet. All right.
Cycling's great. And if you want to mix that in,
Yep.
you know, you really don't need any more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I would really challenge you to not put any more volume in there,
Okay.
but to take advantage of these scenarios and increase the volume spent during that time. We spent a lot of time talking about increasing the volume, packing more workload into shorter durations. We're going to see a greater overall fitness capacity increase in all levels if he does that. We spend too much time training. We're just going to overtrain. Your body's not going to respond to it. You're gonna break. But you can put it in there a couple times a week if you want, or even on Sunday if you're feeling good. You want to get out and spin. That's awesome. Do it and have fun.
Sweet.
Awesome. Well, it's been a joy.
It has been.
Pleasure. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Me too. Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it.